Davis Vlog. I want to talk about something that's troubling that we're starting to see in our social media. I found this meme the other day posted by a friend of mine. It says, when someone calls you a conspiracy theorist, what they're really saying is they are too lazy to do their own research, and we should just trust the government and media to tell us the truth. Took me a while to understand what this meme is saying. When someone calls you a conspiracy theorist, what they're really saying is they're too lazy to do their own research, and we should just trust the government and media to tell us the truth. Okay, so let's accept that the end of that is sarcasm. That I guess we shouldn't trust the government or media to tell us the truth. If that's true, then where are they getting their research? If they're getting their research only from their own head, then isn't that the definition of a conspiracy theorist? I'm really nervous about this showing up on my social media, and I'm nervous of people not being able to process this. The bottom line is that we have to trust some media. We have to figure out what media is telling us the truth. That's what we have to figure out. And here's where it comes from. I have to play this clip from Trump. This is a dangerous clip.
Just stick with us. Don't believe the crap you see from these people, the fake news. But it's all working out. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
I can't get over what he's saying there. You know, don't trust the media, and you can't trust what you see and read. Okay, I gotta admit, full disclosure, that I subscribe to the New York Times and the Washington Post. I pay a monthly fee to read those. They never contradict one another. I watch CBC television. They don't contradict the Washington Post and the New York Times. And I watch the BBC, and I read media from England. None of them are contradicting one another. Is the conspiracy theory that British journalism and Canadian journalism and American journalism are all in cahoots? We should all be aware that in Canada, there is an overseer. It's called the CRTC. And they're at arm's length from the government, but they're also arm's length from the CBC. Should the CBC say something that is incorrect, there would be an agency there to correct it. They would have to apologize. They would have to admit a wrong. Anyone watching this who can prove that the CBC or the Washington Post or the New York Times or the BBC or the Guardian or the Telegraph has said something incorrect, then post it. I would like to read it. Let's dig into it. What part is incorrect? There are really two modes of thinking. There's either ideology, and ideology is where you have a feeling that something is true. Inside your own head, you think that's true. And so you say it's true, based on your feelings. Well, your feelings might not necessarily be based on reality. They're your internal feelings. There's another mode of thought called the scientific inquiry. You have scientific thought. And scientific thought is objective. Objective reality, based on a theory that you test and then you prove. you prove it to be very likely true. So when over 99% of scientists, for example, say that there is global warming and that it is caused by human beings burning fossil fuels, that's very close to being fact. If someone can prove, there's some scientist out there that can prove otherwise, yeah, we're open to that. But until then, no. And here was here's a little clip from this Friday's Bill Maher, and a beautiful clip about the dangers of education.
You know me, Doc. I am all about the science.
So what happens is I think people might be raised in one or another religious tradition, and then they start learning science. Then they find places where the science conflicts. And I think most people have never met a scientist, much less can claim one as their friend. So they see me kind of as their friend who could then offer perspective, or at least shine some kind of cosmic luminosity on what next decision they want to make about how to reconcile or not their religious traditions with science. Enlightened religious people don't have an issue. If Jesus is your savior, no one is going to take that away from you in a country that protects the free expression of religion. But if you're going to come around and say, my religious text tells me the universe is 6,000 years old, and I'm going to stick it in your science classroom, I have an issue with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I so respect Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that, of bringing that up in the age of Trump. Because what has happened to our education system, certainly the education system in the United States, where it seems that people hold their ideology above everyone else. They hold their own internal personal feelings above proven scientific fact. And not only that, but now they're going to attack the media. They're going to attack scientists. I mean, we had, under Stephen Harper, we had a fisheries library destroyed. It's interesting if you go to Wikipedia and look at the list of destroyed libraries in the world. You're in interesting company, Mr. Harper, when you look at that list of destroyed libraries. I won't go through the list. It's disturbing, to say the least, to look at the company that you're in. And finally, there's a really interesting clip here that you have to watch about Hitler. Hitler, of course, and I'm sorry to have to go to Hitler, but it just seems that he's the epitome of wrongness. And he believed this fake notion of an Aryan race, a superior Caucasoid race of superior blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. And he wanted that to be true so much that he set his architects out to prove it.
In the final days of the Second World War, American troops discovered a vast hoard of secret Nazi files hidden in a cave in central Germany. The documents reveal one of the Third Reich's most shadowy projects, the hunt to discover the lost Aryan civilization from which the Nazis believed they had descended. Drawing on previously unseen photographs and archive film, this is the extraordinary story of a global search for the lost island of Atlantis. An expedition to find traces of the master race in Tibet, and an astonishing Nazi quest for the Holy Grail. He remained determined to re-establish his fictitious Aryan culture. And he was about to launch his most ambitious mission yet, seeking the master race in the most unlikely of places. Amongst the buried files of the Ahnenerbe were hints that during 1937, a change was taking place inside Himmler's private research institute. The search for the evidence of the master race was becoming more urgent. Hermann Wirth, the man who had helped link the Aryans to the lost island of Atlantis, had been fired and sent back into academic obscurity. But Himmler's faith in the power of the mythical Aryans remained utterly unshakable. Buried in the files is a letter from Himmler that demonstrates the depth of his bizarre beliefs.
Have the following researched. Find all places in the northern Germanic Aryan cultural world where an understanding of the lightning bolt, the thunderbolt, or Thor's hammer exists. I'm convinced that this is not based on natural thunder and lightning, but rather that it is an early, highly developed form of war weapon of our forefathers. Heil Hitler.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on the two modes of thinking. You're either an ideologue, you believe that your feelings trump everyone else's feelings, or there's a scientific mind where you're open and you are thoughtful about evidence and objective truth. Those are the two modes of thinking. Thanks for watching.